Thanks for sharing that, Adam. You got something else for me here. We got 5 buys and 5 sells. Tell us about this.
Yeah, I got 5 buys that I think are guys that are going to be on the up, either for over exceeding expectations that I think are real, or guys that have underperformed, and I think that they're going to bounce back. And it's Jake Moody, Jake Moody, Jake Moody, and Jake Moody.
That's my kind of list. Let's go.
No, first up, and I really thought long and hard about this one because I try not to be a homer, but Sam LaPorta is him. Sam LaPorta is a guy that if you can find an owner willing to sell him, go get him. His target share, what he does with his targets is only going to go up. He hasn't disappointed at all. I'm buying LaPorta right now. I'd even transition down. Call me crazy. If I have Mark Andrews and I have a hole at running back or a wide receiver, I will try to fill that by trading down to LaPorta right now. And I don't think my production is going to be too terribly down at the tight end position. My next buy is I have Al's favorite, Ken Walker. I still feel like he's being undervalued. If you look at his stats for his yards per carry against Detroit last week, they weren't very good, but he broke a ton of tackles. I think he's second or third in the league in broken tackles right now. That's a trend that's going to continue. And they even got him a little bit involved in the passing game. Zach Charbonnet is not the threat that we thought he was going to be to him, at least not yet. My Nick Chubb to Kareem Hunt comparison is on par right now. So I feel really good about that. If you can find somebody like Al with Ken Walker that thinks he's not a good talent, go and buy him. My next one's Breece Hall. 4 carries, 9 yards. The kid's way too talented for that. If you have somebody panicking in your league that wants to off Breece Hall after that, I'm buying him.
Can I ask you a quick question on him?
Yep.
Are you saying for dynasty, not for? Do you think he has a good season this year? But for this season,
yeah, I'm talking all redraft because I don't think we have a dynasty audience.
You're not buying Breece Hall in dynasty. He's not for sale in dynasty. You're not getting him on the cheap in dynasty.
Fair. I was just curious if you for this season, the way the Jets like losing Rodgers and will their offense sputter. I just was curious.
Yeah, this is all just redrafts. Dynasty, you're not getting him. He's probably still viewed as a top 10 running back in Dynasty.
My only problem with Breece Hall is like the magic number for a running back. Like you want to see a running back get 20 touches in some way, shape, or form. You want to see him get 20 touches between the ground and the air, right? Breece Hall has 16 touches total on the season right now. He's got 1 catch and 14
coming off a knee injury.
Yeah, I get it. But he looked so good in week 1.
Yeah,
he's been on a limit too.
Panicking. If I can throw somebody, I don't know. If I can transition down, if I have Mark Andrews and I can say, hey, give me LaPorta and Breece Hall, and I'm going to give you Mark Andrews and Raheem Mostert.
Yeah. Well, let's keep going through this because we might be able to tie this together a little bit. So far your buys are LaPorta, Kenneth Walker III, and Breece Hall. Who else you got on your buy list right now?
I got Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy is a guy that, I am maybe a little biased on. When I first started playing Devy, he was one of maybe my second year. He was one of my first receivers. Drafted him as a freshman. I loved this guy, and I think he's an exceptional route runner. His hands have been so-so in the NFL, but he got 5 catches for like 40 yards, I think, in his first week back. I think as he continues to get healthy and that hamstring heals up, he's going to be more and more involved in that offense. So I would definitely try to acquire Jerry Jeudy into your lineup. And then my last buy that I'm going to do is Tank Dell. We've talked about the CJ Stroud is being allowed to just sling the ball all over the place.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud wanted Tank Dell. Nico Collins right now is the clear number one, and Robert Woods is going to be consistent, but Tank Dell is going to start to emerge. You got 10 targets, I think, week one. I don't look at stats before I do this stuff. I just talk, but I think he got 10 targets, and I think he's going to transition up. He's probably not owned too heavily in your league, so you probably don't have to trade for him. You probably just pick him up. But even in your dynasty leagues, if any of you guys are out here, I'd be looking. I would definitely try to be aggressive. I would send a 24-2 and a 24-4 for Tank Dell right now. I think his trajectory is straight up in the air.
Yeah, I went after Tank Dell pretty heavily in a lot of my dynasty leagues too. I was grabbing him like late third, early fourth round. I was able to get Tank Dell. 10 targets was in week 2. It was last week. He went 10 targets, 7 catches, 72 yards, and a touchdown. So
yeah.
He didn't just get the targets. He got the catches too. 7 for 72 and a score. You're going to take that all day, any day out of any receiver. So,
and Stroud wants him. He wanted him there. There's a lot of value in that.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So I like that. So your buys are Sam LaPorta, Kenneth Walker III, Breece Hall, Jerry Jeudy, and Tank Dell. So now you're going to give us some sell nows, right? So these are some guys that you're looking to possibly offload. We can even, as we're going through this, identify some of these sells that you might even sell for some of the buys that he's talking about, right? So hit us with your sell list. Who are you selling?
Up top, and this one hurts my heart because I've loved this guy, but I just don't see it for him, and it's David Njoku. Deshaun Watson has been a disappointment. Njoku really kind of gets his value in the red zone. And with this new offense, they've kind of leaned towards running the ball in the red zone. And I just don't see Njoku getting the target. So if you can still take advantage of an owner that looks at keep, cut, trade and like trade calculators, because those owners are out there. I had an argument this weekend about somebody that all the analysts use trade cut.
Yeah, keep trade cut.
Whatever the thing fucking is, right? I don't need a computer to think for me. I watch the games. I'm getting off of Njoku. If I can transition from Njoku to LaPorta, I'm doing that. I'll do that 1 for 1. If I have to throw on a back end running back or receiver,
you probably have to do that right now. I think most of the community's starting to get up on Sam LaPorta. I think he's kind of a darling right now.
Yeah, but he's worth it. He's only going to go up. I would trade Njoku 1 for 1 for Dalton Kincaid too.
Yeah. I don't hate that. So Njoku's a sell.
Yeah, and I'm going to stay at the tight end position, but with a little caveat. After this week, I'm selling Kyle Pitts because he's been poop the first 2 weeks, and Detroit has a problem guarding the tight end. It's been a problem that's been around since I've been alive.
So you think Pitts is going to have a game this weekend?
Yeah, no one can guard.
It's time to cash out.
If Colby Parkinson can have a good game against the Detroit Lions, why can't Kyle Pitts?
Yep, there's your move right there. Is wait for Kyle Pitts to go off on Detroit, and then everybody's infatuation with Kyle Pitts coupled with a good game against Detroit, sell him and grab LaPorta if you can.
Absolutely. So I let him have a good game this weekend, and then be aggressive.
Yeah.
So. My next one is Raheem Mostert. He's looked pretty good. He's looked really good. But I do think that the Miami Dolphins are going to start to get A-Chain more involved in that offense as the season continues. So I would look to take advantage of Mostert being an RB1 in your lineup and see what you can get for him.
That's interesting. I like Mostert a lot. I would not sell Mostert right now. He's above 6 yards a carry. He's getting the ball almost 20 times a game. He, in my opinion, I think Mostert looks like he's a guy that I would probably try to target. Wait for him to have one subpar game, and I'd be going after him.
He's injury prone, and he's got somebody sniffing his ass.
Yeah,
that was handpicked. Right. So that's why I'm selling, because people because that opinion right there. And then that's not a bad opinion. He's been really good. He's a high octane offense. But if I can capitalize on that right now, I'm going to try and do that, because I think his carries are going to decrease through the season, and A-Chain's going to get more involved.
Yeah, I can't argue it too much. I just traded Brian Robinson the other day, and he's kind of a similar situation, right? Like, he's not as old as Mostert, obviously. Mostert's like 10 years older than Brian Robinson, but I sold Brian Robinson because I don't like him as a football player, and he's about as high as, in my opinion, he's probably going to be for a while. So I can't argue it too much.
He's not on my list, but that's a good one too. I really like that trade for you.
Yeah.
And then my last one that I have is, and this one is going to be probably debatable, but that's what this is for. And I'm going to say, look to sell Devontae Smith right now.
Ooh.
He's been getting wide receiver 1 targets, and AJ Brown is a better wide receiver than Devontae Smith. So if you can capitalize on Devontae Smith's numbers and what he's been doing so far this season, go and get you your need, or transition down to another wide receiver and get a position you need. I don't think his trajectory is realistic on what he's on pace for. AJ Brown's going to start getting his targets, and AJ Brown's gonna start getting his things. So if you can find somebody that thinks Devontae Smith is the wide receiver 1 in Philadelphia, offload him to him and take advantage of the situation.
Okay. All right. I don't hate that. So that's your really strong play right there then, right? Devonta Smith is the sell that you could really pull a lot of value out of. Let me ask you this. What about are you going to trade Devonta Smith for somebody like Jerry Jeudy in a redraft league? Are you going to do that straight up, or are you looking for a little bit more out of Devonta Smith?
I'd be an idiot to do that straight up. The value's not there.
Yeah.
Right. So like, these aren't guys that I'm saying like Devontae Smith is not going to do shit the rest of the season. That's not the point of fantasy football. You don't make a trade to rape somebody and say, I'm going to give my garbage to you.
Right.
You know, you make a trade because if you think somebody is already hit their peak, and I think Devontae Smith's hit their peak, I don't think Jerry Jeudy's hit his peak yet. So if I can get the points that Jerry Jeudy's going to score based on the points that Devontae Smith's already scored, I'm making that move.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go get me a Ken Walker out of that. I'm going to go get me a Sam LaPorta out of that. I'm going to go get me, I have Joe Burrow, and I need a better quarterback too, because I thought I was just going to start Joe Burrow all year. And now I can't roll out whoever is your weak quarterback too. And I want to go strengthen it with Jared Goff or Russell Wilson or Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make that transition.
Yeah, right. You know who else?
Can I
go ahead. Sorry, Brandon. What you got?
I think I throw one more sell out there that I have that go to the Lion King, Puka. I'd be selling Puka, and Alan can't even debate it because he already traded him. So
listen, you and I started talking at the same time just a second ago. I was actually going to honestly say the same thing, especially in redraft leagues. We're talking about redraft leagues right now. Puka is not a guy, like, if I can capitalize on his upside right now, which a lot of people are freaking out about, and maybe rightfully so, I'm going to do that, because when Cooper Kupp comes back, Puka's just not going to be the guy. I'm not saying he won't be fantasy relevant. And in Dynasty, I like Puka a lot. I even just sold him in Dynasty earlier this week. I ended up getting a first round pick for him. So I'm not mad at that. I got a first and a second for him and Evan Ingram. So, but I'm going to take that all day long. But I don't disagree. I think Puka is a sell. Anytime, as a fantasy football owner, you can find value in a player. I don't care how hot they are. Everybody's for sale.
Absolutely. That's how you win money. You stay stagnant if you say, well, I can't trade this guy, or I can't make that move. And then that's when you lose.
Yeah. All right. Here, I'm going to give you a quick little